Welcome to Empower Ed, a PIQE podcast where we explore the issues that matter most to families, schools, and communities. I'm Ileana Gallego, and together we're unlocking the power of education. Today, we're highlighting PIQE's parent ambassadors. These are parents and caregivers who've completed a PIQE workshop and stepped up to make a bigger impact. These leaders use their stories, skills, and voices to uplift others and help all children thrive. I'm excited to introduce you to three amazing parent ambassadors, Julia Sosa, Myra Vera-Rizo, and Francisco Sanchez. They've been the voice for many parents, helping families engage in their children's education and working with schools and communities to create real change. Stay tuned as we hear their experiences, challenges, and how they're helping shape education. Thank you, parent ambassadors, for being here.
Thank you for having us.
So to start off, I would like for each of you to introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about your family and your community. We can start with Julia.
Hi, yes, my name is Julia Sosa. I came here from Mexico. I've been for 33 years, and I've been involved with advocating for families like 2009. I have two children, three grandchildren, which is my passion and my everything, what I fight for. I fight in my community, and especially San Fernando Valley, where 98% predominate in Latino. So we have to advocate a little bit more harder for the children's education and immigration and for families engagement.
Thank you, Julia. Myra, do you want to go next?
Yes, good morning, buenos días. My name is Myra Vera-Rizo. I am the oldest of four daughters, and as such, I'm the first one that learned English. And with that said, I didn't like to speak. When I became a mom, I found out that my son was gonna have to be in special education, and I had to come out of my shell and learn the education system. That made me learn and find out and become involved in the schools. And that's how I became an involved parent. Somehow I've become here with PIQE. I'm just taking these classes that are so helpful. And now I'm here with you as a parent ambassador. So that's a little bit of how I became here.
Thank you, Myra. Francisco, we'd love to hear from you.
Thank you very much. Good morning, everyone. Yes, my name is Francisco Sanchez. I first came from El Salvador some 45 years ago. And we raised three children, two girls and one boy. And while coming here, we got the same impact, as an immigrants to a new place, no language, okay? No cultural new, we have to learn a lot of stuff. But somehow, exactly, we learn about PIQE, and then we took the classes, learn a lot. We learn a lot of how to navigate the system, educational system, and then we became facilitators. And then we continue in the progress. So now we are parents ambassadors, and we are passing all this knowledge to the new families because we are finding out that a lot of families still are missing the information. So how to transfer this knowledge to their children so they can become better prepared for the future. So here we are, trying to share something for everyone. Thank you.
So, Francisco, was that your motivation to become a parent ambassador? Because one thing is to take the PIQE workshops, but then to move on and take it to a bigger audience, was that what motivated you?
Yes, as a matter of fact, because there is a lot of things related. We had a special needs daughter, and when she was, in sixth grade, when she came here to the new country, she was transferred to the high school because of her age, even though her mindset, it was like 6 years old. So we didn't know how to comprehend all of that. And then we learned so much, through the classes that we took. And we started navigating the system. We started asking the school, we started asking the district, and we found out that she could be there until age 22 And luckily, we were able for her to graduate from high school with a diploma, not a certificate. Okay. And so that motivates us. Okay. Because we found out that a lot of families, they were also in the same situation. And of course, we are here still helping families now as an advocate with my wife. Okay. So we are doing it big because we are representing not just our place. We live in the Antelope Valley, north of Los Angeles, uh, something rural, something forgotten, you know. But through all the years, I've been here for, we've been here like for 31 years, and we have seen changes from 20% Hispanic population now are 65. So making big difference. We are looking at the needs, okay, that the new family is coming. So we are transferring this knowledge because there is a lot of need for these people, okay, how to navigate the system.
Wonderful. Wonderful. Thank you, Francisco. Myra, what was your motivation to take it from just a workshop for your child to some bigger audience?
Well, with what Mr. Francisco said, and I think I also mentioned it, I think mainly keeping in goal our students, and it starts with our kids. That's where our heart is. I think that's the main motivation, having the student in mind, that goal in mind, and like what PIQE stands for, quality education. I mean, it doesn't necessarily mean that you can give the same education to every single student because we're not the same. So what the student that Mr. Francisco or Ms. Julia might have will not equal the same thing that my son will need or my daughter will need. So that's where we as parents need to advocate for our students. My students' need will be totally different from, the neighbor's students' needs and so forth. And that's why parents need to become involved. And I think that's the motivation that once, like we say, abre los ojos, right? You open your eyes and you're like, oh, well, parents do have that power to become involved. And, we do have the right to raise our hand and become involved and say something and change things. And I think once we have that, we're like, oh, well, let's talk to this parent and let them get involved so that they can do something and speak up. And I think that's when we started taking these speaker workshops and we become involved. We're like, oh, well, let's get more parents involved. And so that's how I think we become so involved that we want to become these parent ambassadors so that we could change and make a bigger change. And I think it starts one parent at a time. I know that sometimes the classes might not be a big class because I know that Mr. Francisco mentioned that we are facilitators, but even if you change one parent at a time, we are making that change. So I think the motivation is just creating a change of mind, a set of mind to create an advocate for that student that will need that change.
Wonderful. Thank you. Julia, do you want to add anything to it about your motivation?
Yes, I just would love to add that when you realize that your voice can change and have a power, you not only want to change your family, you start getting spreading on the community, and then you can go more higher, like nationally, to make your voice heard and change policies for the wellness of the families.
Perfect. And that you're mentioning, the voice, that is something that you find when you start working. Sometimes you don't think you have that confidence or that voice. So Julia, can you mention something like a skill or the confidence that you found through this experience? Can you talk about the confidence?
Well, I think the nervousness. Sometimes you feel so nervous that you don't want to even go. But when you start getting a little bit informed, then you get your confidence, and then you self-esteem getting better too. Then you're not scared. You don't fear to go and stand up in front of senators, in front of your council members, and say, "Hey, we need you. We need you. Your help. Our community need you to support or help us to change any whatever things we need to change." So I think that's another skill that we can find. Is like I learned or we learn how to search to find information, how to go and ask if we don't have the information. go ask for help. So that's how you get confident to don't feel shy. Just go and put your voice and make the changes you want to have in your communities, in your house, and especially in your society.
Any other skills, Myra or Francisco, that you found?
Yes, I would like to add that basically when we found that our voices were heard, it's because it was out of frustration. We really wanted, some help from the school system, and we could not find it. But we found out different ways, like getting involved, not just with PIQE, but different other organizations like First 5LA. And why First 5LA? Because we learned how, okay, the education impact the children from 0 to 5. And then we started understanding what was happening with our daughter, okay, why she was so behind, why she was suffering this. And so we were able to get all the resources for her so she came out better, okay? And that way, we got involved with different other agencies like the migrant program, and we had to organize as a family. I was providing, I was supporting, and my wife was the one moving from place to place. She's more recognized than me. But we were able to advocate, not just in our schools, in our community, but the state level. Okay, we learned that when Tom Tollerson was the state superintendent of education, and we were able to see how this worked, as a statewide. And then we saw a much bigger picture. So we decided, to continue with this voice, enforcing it, and helping the people, to come forward so they can also say what they need to say. Because people hear when you ask. If you don't ask, they will never hear you.
Or like we say in Spanish, right? El que no habla, Dios no lo oye. If you don't speak, God doesn't listen.
Right, exactly.
Francisco, you mentioned how all of this work that you did along with your wife helped have a better result for your child, for your daughter in school. How do you think it would have been if you hadn't been involved or if you hadn't been an engaged parent? What future do you think she would have?
Yes, it will be different. I mean, I will still working. Okay, I work, but not the way I was working before. I was working 10, 12, 14 hours a day. I'm working 4, 6 hours a day, much better. That's for myself. My wife also learned how to be flexible in her time. Okay, so we are dedicating more time to our family, helping them to come, to become independent, to think critically, okay, and how to move forward. We are guiding them with the knowledge that we have so they can be better. And not just better, but get some results, okay, like financially.
Mhm.
So they are not thinking only to have a job, but to become owners of that job so they can create jobs for someone else.
Perfect. Thank you. Thank you. Myra, can you think of a moment when you realized that your voice had power since we're talking about lifting our voices?
Um, yes. I didn't realize that I had become like the person to voice for others. I didn't think I would be on the spotlight because I don't like being on the spotlight. I think I had to be because when we say tenemos el coraje, right? We need to, like, out of frustration, out of desperation, out of we want something to happen out of either of sadness, desperation, out of those, we need the change type of thing, right? Then that's when you really need to raise your hand and say something, right? So that's when you speak up. But when you are at ease and somebody else comes up to you and says, hey, this situation is going on. Can you support me? How do I go about doing this? Can you go with me, or what are the steps? What is the protocol? That's when you realize that you have been doing it all along, even though you haven't realized that you have been doing it, and that people actually do really appreciate what you've been doing without realizing. I don't know if it makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
Because you do it out of your heart, and it's sometimes you're like, do I raise my hand again? If I need to, like, and I say, me sale lo español, right? Here comes again this lady, right? Like, oh, here she comes again. I'm like, but if I don't raise my hand, nobody will do it, right? So I'm like, but if I don't say it, then the other person doesn't know what is going on. So it's like, I want to share, like, all of my colleagues have said, we have information, so we want to hear we want others to hear it, because sometimes the district doesn't do that, or officials or administration. So we want to share. So for someone to say on a one-on-one basis to do that, that's when you realize. And even though, like my colleague said, we might not know all the answers because things change all the time, but at least us trying to figure it out, keeping updating, we have somewhat of an idea, and for them to come up, I think that goes a long way, because we'll figure it out together. We've always said that we might not have the answers, we might not know everything. We practice, our skills are to practice and try to figure out that goal in mind and get there. And I think just for them to be that spokesperson, even if it's on one-on-one, I think that goes a long way. When they voted you for president of such committee, when they're thinking of you, you're like, me again? Why? Try somebody else. Like, you feel good, but again, I'm like, try somebody else. Like, give an opportunity for somebody else. It goes a long way. But then again, it goes a long way, like I said.
It reminds me of recently I spoke to another parent ambassador, and she said that when she started as parent ambassador, she thought that she was just going to be telling her experience. She never thought that it was a voice for others until, like, situations like the ones that you're mentioning, right? That's when she noticed that her voice mattered and her voice had power. And many times it's because we either have the personality or more time than others to be advocates, and that's when you have to use it to represent your community. Julia.
And
Oh,
I'm sorry,
sorry.
Diana, I'm gonna interrupt you, and
Sure.
I'm gonna redirect that statement. I don't think we have more time, because I know Mr. Sanchez and Ms. Sosa do not have time, because I do not have time. I don't think we have time. I think we just redirect our time and make time for it, because I think we know it is important, and we make time for it, because we know that if we don't make time for these important matters, nobody will do anything about it. So we make it work.
Yes.
I always say, you tell me what to do and I'll move things around and I'll make it work. Like how you
That's
said.
true. That's
So
true. You're right.
we will I don't think anyone has extra time, but we'll make it
Exactly.
work. But I think we just have to make the effort. So
You're
we'll make it work.
correct. You're correct. Like you say, everybody's so busy, and it's just making time for these things. You're correct. Julia, what does it mean to you to represent your community?
Oh, that's a good question. It means that I can be the voice for those who don't have the courage, for those who don't have the information, for those who don't have the time. And it's not the time, talking about, like Myra says, it's not the time. It's like sometimes you don't realize how important it's your kids' education, your community, your work too. But if you make a good path for your kids, for their future, then you're gonna find the time. Then you're gonna move things around and make the time to be and to participate. It could be in school, it could be in community, it could be more like nationally, like some don't know, but I'm doing national advocating. I go to Washington, I go to different states, and that doesn't mean I don't have the time. It's because I know my kids need me in the beginning, then my neighbors need me, my community need me, and I know that to be the voice and to advocate national for people, I'm changing. And again, not only in my family environment, but my community and my society, because we all move linking each other. So that's make me feel proud. It makes me feel that we are important. Our voice is important to go and say it for our needs, because we need a lot of things from our representatives. They have to give and help and support whatever community needs, because they represent us. So if we don't speak loud, if we don't say, if we don't use our voice, they never know, not gonna know what we need. So that's why my voice make me like, yes, represent my community. It's a big challenge. But it's a big recomforting too. So.
Do you think, since we're talking about making the time too, this makes me think that sometimes we don't make the time because many of us don't think that our voice can make a change? Do you think that's it? Like many parents might not say, it doesn't matter what I'm doing, I'm just one person, it's not going to make a big change. Do you think that happens for many people?
Yeah, and it like not we don't think, we don't know. We don't know, because once we know, then nobody can stop us. Once we know how impacted we can go and make and everywhere we step, and then we start. And we have to know, yes, that our voice, it has big value, it has big power, and it can change a lot minds from people who doesn't know. Because it's true that people doesn't know what's going on in low-income communities. It's true that people don't know what is going on in low-income families. So if we don't go and bring this voice, they will never know, and they will never help. So yeah, we have to know that our voice is needed.
Francisco, I would like for you to add to that too. Tell us about, like, for those of us who don't know, tell us about that impact of our voice.
Yes, I would say that we have been doing, when I say we, I would say everybody who advocates, okay? We just not just bring, okay, our knowledge into the people who ignore a lot of the process, but it's nice, when we hear that something or somebody have a problem. What's the first thing we say? Hey, don't worry, it will happen, or God is with you. God bless you. You will overcome very soon. I mean, we hear all of these phrases of support.
It will pass, right?
Okay, it will pass. Yes. And that's like a 99% of the people who will say that. But we feel that we are that 1% that we can come and say, you know what? I feel you. I stand with you. Okay? We'll go through it. We don't say you will go. I say we will go through this. I have this knowledge. I will pass to you. Let's do it. Give me your hand. I'll take you here. Okay? And that's a nice feeling that we have every time, because this is proven. Okay? Once we learn how to navigate the system, the educational system, we have learned not just about schools, we have learned also about the idea law. We have learned about the, what is it called, this law? Lanterman for the regional centers. Now we are helping people. So this is so important, and this is so powerful, and they are learning in the process. A lot of families, they say, thank you, if it was not because of you. So we see the difference when they come forward and say, I did this and I got it.
Why
Okay?
is this important for you to represent your community and help your
It's
community?
important because once they learn how to do it by themselves, they can also pass this on to some others. So we are growing in the knowledge.
Thank you. Myra, would you like to add to that about the impact that your voice has?
Yes. Well, I think it could apply to anyone, including our students. I think overall we need to, and I think that's what we're doing because I think most of us started facilitating, and we start with the PIQE workshops, right? We provide them with resources, right? But I think overall we need to learn how to collaborate with that important key stakeholder, whether it's the school, admin, whomever it is, that key stakeholder, if it is nationally, if it is admin at the school, if it's a student with that teacher, whomever that is. And because we are shaping them, we are providing them with whatever it is, that resource it is, emotional, educational, that motivation, like they said, because we do need all those resources. Even we provide them with that technological part, so that they could have all these resources and do whatever they need to do to gain to this tool, because they need all these things to gain this navigation to get to their goal. So I think we just need to keep in mind that we need to get there however we can get there, and keep that in mind. We might not know the answer, but we need to get there. And that's what we need to keep in mind. So
The goal. Yeah,
yeah,
it
we
doesn't
need to
matter
keep
the
the goal in
journey.
mind.
Mhm. Okay. Can you talk, Myra, about the challenges that you have seen families face when trying to be heard?
I think it starts with the language. I think most of us didn't start with the language. I still have difficulties. Me sale el español, sometimes just because you express better with your first language, right? The Spanish comes out, especially when you're passionate about something. You're like, how do you say that? And like the heart comes out, right? Your tu corazón, right? It comes out. And it's because I think mainly the language, because not everybody speaks your first language. So if you are at school or you are with officials, if they don't speak your language and the parent doesn't speak their language, then that is an issue. But I think that's the barrier. Information will be the barrier. Let's say that there is a protocol to do something and you don't know the steps. That could be a barrier. There's a lot of different, I think, of barriers that could be technology. If you don't know how to use a computer, you don't know that the form is only online. So I think just having these barriers and not knowing them can be issues. So I think just knowing what they are and informing whatever that might be and asking. Having other parents like Mr. Sanchez and Ms. Sosa say, informing, pulling one at a time and collaborating with them, helping them inform our parents, I think that would help out.
Thank you. Julia or
Yeah.
Francisco, do you want to add anything to this topic about the barriers?
I want to say the lack of knowledge too, because sometimes we can speak very good the language, but if we don't know what to ask or how to ask or who to ask, then we don't have, we're not gonna be solved and speaking to whoever we have to approach. But if we don't know what information we have to ask, like for example, in our kids' school, we have to know how to ask grading. We have to know how to ask all the through G and all those information that we have to really straight ask to them. So that lack of knowledge, sometimes if we don't have it, we don't know what to do and we cannot take the event to go forward. So if we have the opportunity for workshops or whatever information that we can have, what's going to help us, I think we have to be hungry and go and get it, because that's going to give us power.
Thank you. Francisco, anything you want to add?
Of course, besides, the language barrier, the lack of knowledge, I will say something technical here, is when we have a Spanish speaker in front of an English speaker, but we have a third party translator, okay? It's not the same to have a translator as to have someone who is interpreting. Interpreting makes a big difference because they tell you what they thought they are comprehending and try to explain what they are talking about. The translator has to be saying exactly what they are saying in real time. So that's another barrier that we have found, okay? In regards to the technology, is changing so fast, especially for the parents, okay? We have to learn a lot. Of course, we know how to have Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, whatever, but in regards of the applications, that the students need to work on, I mean, we are behind. So it's another barrier, okay, for us. Yes.
Yes, the digital literacy and it's moving so fast, like you say. Julia, back to the lack of knowledge, what would you recommend parents, like if you're listening to the podcast and you think like I have all these questions, but I don't know where to start, what would you recommend to these parents?
Well, we have Google. I think go to Google and find out who is PIQE, what PIQE do, who they're talking about, and then they're gonna get more information. So it's just like when you open the door and then throw you everything. So they're gonna learn, and they can, again, what is A to G, what grade is they're talking. So they can just go, or they can approach to schools. They can go to organizations too. There is a lot of organizations who give them help and give them knowledge. The school, parent centers, and all those. There is many people who wants to help parents. It's just we have to make the time and we have to want it. And like I say, understand that our kids' education is number one. So then they're gonna go for it, and they're gonna find, and they're gonna go find everything, approaching to school, approaching to an organization, approaching to somebody who they see or they heard, oh, I think this person has a little bit information which is gonna be good for me. So go and approach to that person, go and ask.
Myra, I see you nodding. Do you want to add to it?
Yes. I know back in the days when we were going to school, only certain people had encyclopedias, right? That's the only way you had the knowledge, dictionaries, the library, right? And I used to tell my kid, well, my oldest is now 18, and I used to say, go look it up in the dictionary, right? Well, now that we don't have to do that, we don't open your phone, ask AI, right? And then like Ms. Sosa says, you look it up and it tells you. Once you Google something, and do you ask me something like a follow-up question, like if you say A to G. So I think just knowing like the basics, or teaching our parents or our colleague the basics as in a follow-up question or what it is. And then even if you're like me, I'm a visual person, going into YouTube and asking it what it is, because I'm a visual person. I need to see like animation or something. Getting creative with how to look up information, having conversations with somebody that might know more, with the school committees, depending what you want to learn, just because we learn differently. Yes, I know the phone might have the information, but it might not stick. You might not comprehend what you're reading. So having that motivation to want to learn and comprehend, practicing it, I think just getting to understand the information is what we need to plant within our parents, the caregivers, whomever wants to learn, because it is possible. It's never too late. It's never too early. I'm already planting that seed with my kids. They're 11, 14, and 18. I have them in the car and I'm already telling them, they're like, Mom, I don't need to know this. I was like, just listen, because you will have kids and you will want to change things. And that's how you create change, just hearing and listening how it starts. So that's why I'm nodding, because yes, I lecture my
Yes.
kids in the car.
Thank you. Francisco, what changes do you hope to see in your schools and your community?
Wow, that's big. um, as someone, who's been trying to get deeper into the knowledge of the school system, I know my district is trying to be visionary about the future, okay? And they are planning some changes that it will give the opportunity to the students to become, proactive in their future. So saying that, I would say, curriculum in the schools needs to be changed. We are working in a curriculum that has more than 100 years. And what I see in my district is something like we have been brewing here for more than 20 years. And now it will be a reality in 2030. It's already there. Lands and projects, monies are coming. So this will be a reality. We need to change, okay, the curriculum. And saying that, I would say my community needs to understand. Okay, the parents needs to understand that these changes are looking forward to better, the life of our students. Because, man, this is another something that we can talk about maybe later. AI. Wow, we really need to concentrate all of these changes now so we are prepared for the future. Okay, so my district, I would say, is already working on that. Palmdale School District. In CABE, I participate in that, and we were talking about it. And I found out that our district was already in the process. It's not that it needs to come and ask for it, but they are already in the process. So when I went with the board as education, and they showed me all of this, I said, wow, parents needs to know, because this is not something about myself, about the board of education, about the superintendent, about the school. This is families, schools, and community together, okay, that we need to work, understand, and come forward. I know people who's listening right now, they have one or two questions. Please come forward. Ask. Other than that, you are missing it.
Thank you very much. Wonderful. This has been a great conversation. And our last question, I would like all of you to respond to it. We can start with Julia. Julia, where do you see yourself, let's say, in 5 years as an advocate, as a parent advocate?
Oh, I've been dreaming to be a facilitator in some of those organizations that I'm working with, to give more, to share more, because I think we cannot keep whatever we learn. We have to spread it, we have to share it, and we have to make the big changes.
Thank you. Thank you. Myra, where do you see yourself as an advocate?
Where do I see myself? Honestly, I don't know where I see myself. I think wherever that change might be, I think that will change. My advocacy was with my oldest, which is going to graduate, and he was the one in special education. That was my main focus. So I think now that he's going into college, I will have to refocus that energy into something else. And I think I am mainly focusing on that, but wherever the need is, because now I have 2 students in the dual language immersion. So I think that's where I'm going to keep focusing now my advocacy.
You will continue to be an advocate
Yes,
now that
definitely.
you found it.
Yes.
Thank you. Francisco, where do you hope to see yourself in 5 years? You're muted, Francisco.
That's unbelievable. Okay. Right now, I have a sense of urgency. Okay, so I'm trying to do my best right now. So in 5 years, God forbid, I'm still there, then I can see something related to what I'm working on right now. Okay. So for me, we have to do it now because we don't know if we will be there tomorrow.
Thank you. Thank you for your answers. It's been a wonderful conversation. I appreciate your honesty, and your openness to these topics. I want to give a big thank you to all three of you. Thank you, Julia, Myra, and Francisco, for sharing your stories and inspiring work. I know you're very busy, so I truly appreciate you being here, taking the time to join us. And remember, your voice matters. Parents' voices matter. Every action, big or small, can help create real change in schools and communities. Thanks for listening. Don't forget to subscribe, share this episode, and join us next time as we continue unlocking the power of education. Until next time.